I wonder how many times that recording will be.
Before two or after two count. Before two or after two was not.
I tried, baby. Hello, hello. Hello. Is it working? Okay, don't bother. It's plugged in. It's plugged in. All right, now this is what we got here. We got a dead. This dead. Is it?
Is it dead?
It's dead. This one's working down. This one's dead.
Is that what the mayor said?
Yeah. This is the second mic. I don't know.
It probably just needs batteries. I saw,
What?
Jeremy, is that his name?
I guess so.
He was standing outside of, IT. See if they got a battery.
What you guys think?
I got a little bun.
It went in the alphabet. Oh, that thing will be down, but it's hooked up to the
Okay,
computer.
I appreciate you. Thank you. You're welcome.
I don't think it will read that now, it'll sit on longer. Your door is locked. Okay, I'll wait to get pay back to me and Miss Jen.
You want me to go get it?
Y'all give me the key, I don't lock it.
I don't know if I'll be able to.
Yeah, you won't know. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna go unlock it. She said, give her the key.
If y'all wanted me to, if you didn't want to make that trip, I didn't know. It's up to y'all.
All you gotta do is say no.
No, I'm not gonna do it if I'm supposed to. Why would I do that?
How do I record, voice record on this?
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting right at 6 o'clock p.m., so please prepare yourselves. At this time, please silence all of your devices, so we may not have any interruption during our meeting. We will start approximately at 6 o'clock p.m. Thank you very much.
It's on your phone already, but you just need to download that. You wanna do that? Or not?
How long would it take you?
Time is 6 o'clock p.m. and this meeting of the Selma City Council for Tuesday, November the 23rd, 2021 is hereby called to order. Welcome to the Selma City Council. At this time, we will ask that Councilwoman Thomas, please, Kristen Thomas, offer us our word of invocation for the evening. Yes, ma'am. Councilwoman Thomas.
Please bow. Father God, we come thanking you for the many blessings you bestowed upon us, Father God. We come with thanksgiving in our hearts, Father, especially during this Thanksgiving season, Father God. Remembering all those, Lord God, that has lost loved ones, Father God, during this time, Father God, we lift them up now in the name of Jesus, and we pray peace all over them, their families and their friends, Father God. We thank you today, Father, for just blessing us tremendously, Lord. We ask that you forgive us for our sins, creating us a clean heart and renew the right spirit. We ask that you dwell in this meeting, Father God. We ask that every decision that's made is made to the best interest of the city of Selma, Lord God. Bless each and every individual that is represented here today. We thank you, Lord God, for the mayor. We thank you for the council members, Lord. We thank you for every citizen of this city, Lord God. We ask you to continue to bless them in a mighty way, Lord. We ask these and other blessings in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Thomas. At this time, let's all stand and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You all may be seated. At this time, we'll ask our clerk to please perform our roll call first.
Good evening.
Good evening.
President Young.
Present.
Councilman Hartfield. Councilwoman Christie Thomas.
Present.
Councilman Carmichael.
Present.
Councilwoman Day. Present. Councilman Randolph.
Present.
Councilman Jennison.
Here.
Councilwoman Davis Thomas. Present. Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and thank you, Council, for your responses. According to our agenda, the character trait of the month is considerate. When you possess the trait of being considerate, you show an ability to think of other people as well as yourself. You show care to others and seek to understand how they might feel in certain situations and adjust your behavior accordingly. Please keep that in mind, our character trait for the month, which is considerate. At this time, council, you have before you our agenda for the meeting for November 23rd. Is there a motion to accept our agenda this evening? All right, is there a second? Second. All right, please allow the minutes to reflect that it was moved by Councilman Johnson and properly seconded by Councilman Jennison to approve our agenda for Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young.
Yes.
Council Barfield. Councilwoman Christie Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Carter.
Yes.
Councilwoman James. Yes. Councilman Randall.
Yes.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes.
Councilwoman David Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Council, for your votes. Now, Council, will you please turn your attention to our consent agenda for Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. And this is just a consent agenda. If there are considerable questions about an item, you do have the right to remove that item, and we'll bring it up at another time for discussion during this meeting. But these are the items that have been placed on our consent agenda for the evening. Item number 1, to approve City of Selma, Alabama resolution consenting to and supporting tax abatement for Globe Metallurgical Inc. Item number 2, to approve the purchase of 2016 Ford F-150 XLT in the amount of $26,000 from Reliable Cadillac GMC, and to approve the transfer of $26,000 from account number 1.6200-51038 to account numbers 1.6200.55330 and account number 1.6200.5171 to allow the purchase. Item number 3, to approve resolution R-121-21/22, resolution authorizing and approving execution of a contract with Bank Court South Equipment Finance, a division of Bank Court South Bank, Massey Ferguson NF 5711 4-wheel drive cab tractor with 22-inch diamond boom mower. Item number 4, to approve resolution R-003-21/22, resolution providing for City of Selma, Alabama participation in the severe weather preparedness sales tax holiday is authorized by 40-23-250 through 40-23-233 Code of Alabama 1975. Item number 5, to approve resolution R-125-21/22, resolution authorizing and approving execution of a contract with Bank Court South Equipment Finance, a division of Bank Court South Bank, 2022 Freightliner M2 106 trucks with PAC-MAC knuckle boom loader bodies. Item number 6, to approve a payment of annex statement in the amount of $10,000. Item number 7, to approve payment of BMSS invoice in the amount of $27,325. Item number 8, to approve alcohol license application for Big Star Grocery LLC to be placed on first reading. Item number 9, to approve contract for services with Tri-States in the amount of $30,000 for professional consulting services. Item number 10, to approve the waiver of vendor fees for Shop Selma Sunday. Item number 11, to approve the waiver of vendor fees for Holiday House. And item number 12, to approve a purchase order for Stowe's Cleaning Service in the amount of $5,000 with funding dispersed from Councilman Randolph's discretionary account 1.6000-51070.5. Council, those are the 12 items that we have before us tonight on our consent agenda. At this time, are there any questions or discussion? Councilman Randolph.
On my contract, no, cleaning service,
Yes, sir.
what you hear from, attorney, they had some of the same thing. I had, we could be paying all this month, but we couldn't use that app.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I might change some of it to all these things.
Okay, you want to take it off for now and then bring it up on the attorney's report? Or,
You think, turn around,
thought we were gonna have something on Thursday, but I never saw it. He told me that we could use it to do that, all these funds, but I was walking him.
And I see him on the Zoom, but it's still showing connected to audio. So, okay, so we'll just move that for now and bring it up to the attorney's report. Okay. Okay, any other discussion? Councilwoman Thomas, Van Thomas.
Yeah, I don't know. With the $26,000 coming from gas, obviously from it's a question that I need to ask from the attorney before I cast my vote, because I was reading up on something. I want to make sure that it's not.
Okay, so we'll remove item number 2 for now and then bring it up, and we'll discuss it. All right, so just for now, we'll just, until you get your question.
Okay, and then, number 7, with the BMS invoice,
Yes, ma'am.
around $2,725. I want to ask, he said he was gonna come back, I was looking at, $500 for, he said he was gonna let us know exactly what that is that would be in charge, because I would like to know.
So you would like to remove that one for now?
Yeah, I just want to ask.
Ask questions, get discussion.
Come back.
All right, that's item number 7. Any other on the consent agenda? All right, council, so this is the chair's understanding that item number 2, number 7, and number 12 should be removed at this time for further discussion. Are there any other items that need to be removed or discussed? Hearing none. Our council, we have items number 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11 up on consent agenda for approval. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 2, 7, and 12? Is there a second? All right, please allow the minutes to reflect that it was moved by Councilman Johnson and properly seconded by Councilwoman James to approve our consent agenda minus items number 2, number 7, and number 12. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young,
Yes.
Councilman Harville, Councilwoman Christie Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael.
Yes.
Councilwoman Day. Yes. Councilman Randolph.
Yes.
Councilman Jennings.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jamie Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Council. Now, Council, we turn your attention to the approval of minutes, and we'll ask that our clerk please perform our approval of minutes. Presentation.
Good evening again, council,
Good evening.
mayor, and all who are present. Greetings and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Council, have before you the minutes of the Selma City Council November 1st special call meeting, as well as the minutes of the Selma City Council November 9th regular meeting. These minutes are before you for the consideration. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions, additions, or deletions to the minutes presented for November 1st, 2021 special call meeting and November 9th regular council meeting? Are there any questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve said minutes? All right, I think I heard Councilman Johnson first. Is there a second? Second, who's the second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Councilman Johnson, properly seconded by Councilwoman Jamie Thomas to approve our minutes for our special call meeting November 1st, 2021, and our minutes for our regular meeting November the 9th, 2021. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young,
Yes.
Councilman Harville, Councilwoman Christie Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael.
Yes.
Councilwoman James. Yes. Councilman Randolph.
Yes.
Councilman Jennings.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jamie Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, Council, we will have our announcements at this time, and we'll start our announcements with Keep Alabama Beautiful presentation of certificates by Councilwoman Jamie Thomas. Councilwoman Thomas, you have the floor.
I would like to call up. Tonight, I would like to present this to, we have two students who are part of our fall cleanup. And when we do our fall cleanup, we always give a certificate for work, volunteer work that they do for the city of Selma. And we always want them to know that they can always be a part of any community service that we do in the city of Selma. And I would like to present this to you. Thank you so much. This is coming from Keep Alabama Beautiful. For the hours that you worked with us that day, Saturday, we appreciate Selma. You showed leadership, strong leadership, that you were willing to come out with us that day and spend that whole day with us, pick up little Keep Selma. Thank you. And we have another young man, a lot of them, excuse me, y'all, for a minute. Sorry. And we appreciate him coming out too. And also in the near future, if you need me, I'm willing to work. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. All right, thank you. Also, we have some cheerleaders from R.B. Hudson. So they couldn't make it because of the holiday, but I want to let them know that school start back up our week. We'll be coming over there to give them their certificate. Also, we have another student who took part, Martin Academy. Martin Academy took part of the cleanup, so they were all young people. And Keep Alabama Beautiful, we always reward our young people for what they do in our city.
Everyone, let's thank all our participants for participating in Keep Alabama Beautiful and in turn, keeping Selma beautiful. So thank you, Councilwoman Thomas, for pushing the initiative, and thank you to all of our schools and all of our students and those that work with our students to help try to make Selma a cleaner and better place. Thank you all so much. Are there any other announcements that need to be made at this time, Council? Yes, Councilman Randolph.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank everyone for participating yesterday. Board five citywide utility meeting, and we made 26 hours. Matter of fact, believe it or not, they were more than silver. They like me because I don't believe in all people say a lot of people say determine whether they're going to pay like get their medicine. So a lot of people pay for church service. Sometimes do stuff like this. Kind of like trying to keep it private because we don't want too many people. But at the last moment, we tell people about it. So, Councilman, don't take it personally. I didn't let everybody come. Everybody was. Even character has to be prepared. Another thing, next slide is I would get with the mayor or somebody to try to get the lights put up right there, because it's a bad intersection today. Young man got robbed by 16, 17, it's a sad situation. You know, high school boy robbing, beating up an old grown man. The man held for 3 hours. So we need some cameras in Selma, Mr. President. I know we have a dilemma with the other cameras. It's nothing that can say that we can a game camera put up in our, you know, with a strong gigabytes silicone and they put it up in trees. Something got to be done. They get outrageous. We talk about high school. When a man was telling the stop, the guy started shooting at another man. So he told him, leave the boy alone. I just say it, but it's a sad situation. And young guys, we got a serious game problem in Selma. I don't care what nobody said, but we got a serious game problem. And which one? And it's just 2 boys. No, it's not 2 boys. It's a lot of guys. And everybody here will. Everybody here will. Gunshots. Like I said, I'm this morning, I'm passionate, right? We need to come together. We wait on these other counties. With this game council, we had game council, Trump County, myself, I don't know what you had there.
And use mine because.
You disappeared.
I didn't, well, when I did start using them, you know, once you put them up, in the community, they saw you and they come back and they take them down, so. It was a way, you know.
Okay. Listen, she was the announcements. I got you, Councilman, right now, and I understand you need passion. But I do want to say thank you for the utility bill giveaway, which I think was excellent. Any other announcements, Councilwoman James and then Councilwoman Thomas?
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and pray that you have a blessed holiday season with your family. On December the 18th, Ward 4 will be partnering with Reverend Grayson Jackson, also one of my closest friends, as well as Story Beckers. We will be having a hat and glove ride, as well as giving out books to our senior citizens in the parking lot of Houston. If you have any hats or gloves you want to donate, you can, but we're gonna try to serve not only Ward 4, we're gonna try to serve any citizen that comes up. We're also gonna have Ward Health out there with us, also giving out the information, giving out the hand sanitizer. So if you want to be involved in that, you can, but this will be December the 18th. And get to the shopping center from 9 until 1. So if you're not doing anything, you can come help us, but we want to make sure our senior citizens will have some hats and gloves for the cold winter season. Again, thank you and have a blessed Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Councilwoman James Thomas.
Good afternoon, citizens of Selma. I would like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and a time for the season of sharing and showing love and helping one another. I also want to say to Marcus Snow, I would like to thank him for what he's doing in the community for the homeless. We will be feeding them tomorrow, right across at the Old Miss American, and we will be feeding them a hot meal. They will have collard green, corn, ham, cake. He's gonna go back to the needy, the homeless. And also I want to say to the senior citizen that lives in my ward, we always give during the holidays. Also, we always make sure that our elders have a meal. They call in and they always, I took a part every year with every night. The former president, Bowie, we would go out to the homes of the senior citizens and give them Thanksgiving dinner. And I will take part President Bowie called me, to be a part of it. And I just want people to say it's time to see to be happy and joyful family.
Thanks. Any other announcements? Yes, Councilman Randolph.
On December 4th, after Christmas, correct? Selma, guys and girls association, we'll be doing a shoe drive giveaway. The railroad tracks in front of Fountain House. If anybody have the shoes they would like to donate to, they call me. And 334-267-2949. Give the shoe out to the person that comes. And like the December 4th, after Christmas parade, at the railroad track.
Any other announcements?
Next one, President.
Okay, good, get Councilman Johnson. Go ahead.
Go ahead, she come.
You're, all right, go ahead.
I forgot to let the citizens know, a lot of people asking in our neighborhood where our playground area was located at. And, I was mad, but, because of the structure that we did, the many years we did what we were. They were brought in, a company came in with their equipment and they sat up in the area that we were planning to move forward. But, I talked to them, I asked questions, I didn't get a response of the work session, but I did talk to them and I asked them, they're gonna, it's practically stuff, and he said that he would, go back and replan our grass, take out there, citizens in Ward 7, but they were upset, but they were saying that was our area that we were planning to move forward. And we were gonna continue, we're gonna give them a chance to use, they said 2 months, and they would take care of that area.
Thank you. Now, Councilman Johnson, then Councilman Jennings.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Coming up this coming Thursday, and hope everybody have a wonderful day and safe holiday weekend. I want to announce the president on December 17th. I got to partner with all in one restaurant, which we would have a dinner for the all city employees. Hoping that we can have an event building as possible. I got an opportunity to talk to Councilman Randolph. Hoping to pray the rest of the council will join in with us. With this being done, it's in the planning stage now, but the date is December 17th. I'm trying to see a Christmas dinner for the whole city employees. The one minute we was going to do the phone with the department and the cemetery, but I'm excited to think that to do for the whole, all city employees. So any council person that's willing to help us with this here, we welcome. Come with us and help us with this as a whole. If not, we still get to take care of it on the city. Anyway, December 17th, and it's in the plan. I will announce it again in the next council. Thank you.
Yes. All right, Councilman Jennings.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Approximately 8 weeks ago, they started a foundation for Green Street Baptist Church. And from the phase, we had 3 phases going and just completed. And during the first phase of it, we was basically doing a cleanup of the exterior in walls, and clean out debris and all that. So they completed phase 1. Phase 2 was the removal of all the debris from the sanctuary area, and this is 85% almost done. And phase 3 is to get people back in there to serve God. And but at the same time, they still need, donations, your prayer, somebody help, anything you can do to help on to help around the debris picking up or whatever, not it'll be a blessing. So I just want to put that out and let everybody know. And thanks to our Green Street members and everything, it's under the leadership of Mr. Aaron Roper. So everybody know him, a tax collector, so get in touch with him. He's the leadership of that part of the foundation that they put together. I thank everybody for everything they put in through Cash App, those fund means, whatever you have done or whatever you can do it'll be a great consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements at this time for the council members? All right, just a few reminders. On tomorrow, Selma will have 3 new officers sworn in. 3 new police officers sworn in tomorrow. Tomorrow, 11:00 a.m. out at Watts. So those that can attend, please make try your best to get out there for that tomorrow at 11:00 a.m. Another reminder, the city council on the 3rd Saturday, which is December the 18th, from 8 to 12 p.m., we will be participating in the annual Salvation Army Bell Ring. I know you all know the city council does that every year. We'll do the bell ring on the 3rd Saturday, and it's from 8 to 12. So Councilwoman Danny, you can come with us for an hour before you go to your service Friday. And so we'll be doing that out at Walmart on the grocery side, from 8 to 12, Salvation Army Bell Ring. And so we're asking all citizens to come out, give your donations all along, but bring us a big donation for Salvation Army on that day. Great, Councilman Johnson.
We're gonna break the time up and all of them be there together.
We're gonna get a schedule together and see what are the best times and the best shifts for everybody. So we'll ask our wonderful council secretary, Ms. Ellison, to prepare a schedule for us out there. But you guys out there, Councilman Johnson, you might be out there at 5 and be from 5 to 12. So a year older than a year better. Now, a year better. But let's remember that very important activity of the council. And then I'm sure there's some other announcements that are coming up during the holiday season that I'm certain the mayor and city personnel will inform us about. So it is definitely the holiday season. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. For we all know that we have a great deal to be thankful for. We're thankful for tonight that we're actually able to see one another and to have this meeting and to be here, to be present, to be alive, to be breathing. So happy Thanksgiving. With that said, we're going to move on to our next item on our agenda for the evening, our citizens' concern. And we'll remind our citizens they have 3 to 5 minutes for their presentation. 3 to 5 minutes. Our first individual will ask Mr. Mitchell, Chadwick Mitchell, involving any public safety issue. Mr. Chadwick Mitchell. You're going to share. Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. All right. Our next citizen concern is Attorney Fire Torre to discuss injustice issues. Attorney Fire Torre, you do have the floor.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
First, let me thank you with acknowledgement. You may not know that Dr. Mitchell's son, his son was killed in a car accident. His youngest son. So I think such an aspect to this community. You know, he lost a mother a few months ago. So we just want to lift him in prayer. Not just him, but so many people who have lost people. I've lost 3 cousins the same week as that virus. So that's all.
Yes, ma'am.
When you began, you talked about with liberty and justice for all. And I really want us to take that serious. All means all. For those of us who study the scripture, certainly all means the least of these. And I'm sorry to say, as an attorney of 50 years, the least of these are not getting justice in this city. Not just in this city, but in this state and in this nation. But before I, okay. Let me, I think I can take the mask off since the noise. And I've had the shot in real soon. But before I talk about the justice issue, I want to take 1 minute to talk about Selma is not as bad as y'all think it is. When you look at it in relationship to everything else, the crime itself, if you look at the statistics, nonviolent crime since the pandemic has increased all over this nation by 4%. When there's poverty, when people are without, whether it's black, white, or green, when people don't have, they're going to take that simulation. So I think that we need to reimagine Selma and not just concentrate on the crime. I understand what you're saying. The biggest game to me is the game that stormed the Capitol and threatened to kill the vice president and Pelosi and anybody they saw with lynch ropes and guns. That was a game. That was a dangerous game. But if you notice, most people upholding that game. You don't even hear people bashing that game. And many of those people, and this really disturbed me, some of them pled guilty to misdemeanors. They admitted on Facebook they were there to kill. But we are so often quick to label our children, label our people as gang members. I don't mean no harm. We do have a serious problem, and I don't want to play it down. Let's put it in perspective. If we concentrate more on what we have, most of our children are not gang leaders. My granddaughter, I'm so proud of her. But let me skip to that right quick. Do you know she was left alone by the police officers in Selma when I was arrested? Yes. She was nothing was done about it. What is the policy on it? Let me get back to reimagining Selma. We have people coming to Selma every day. They leave nothing in Selma. They don't eat here. They don't drink here. They do nothing but cross that bridge. Now they don't close the Memorial Park because they come to the park. That's all they want to do. We have to take care of that park, y'all. We have no rights. We have to take care of that park. And all people want to do is come and look at y'all. I think we got to reimagine Selma. And I'm going to tell you right now before I go to the part that y'all not going to like. I know y'all mad this part. But use me. I'm a very talented person. Me and my husband created many organizations, including the Macrae Yard Center, that's still there, including the National Voting Rights Museum, which is still there, including the Bridge Crossing Jubilee, which is the largest annual celebration. Yes, the people in the community that are willing to give and help you to reimagine Selma. We can't afford to be divisive. The people don't, I don't call them right, I call them wrong. The extremists, the Trump extremists are together on their agenda. We're not on the agenda. We're not together on the agenda for justice. Now that's what I want to say up front. Use me. Use my husband. Now, we cannot reimagine Selma without a good justice system. But right now we don't have a good justice system. I'm looking at you, Mr. Randolph. I remember when you were illegally arrested. Remember I arrested you pro bono. I also was illegally arrested. And I want to give copies of all this. I'm not here for y'all to try to swap the charges. Nothing like that. Since all 4 years, I don't expect justice, but I can take care of myself. I'm worried about the least of these who can't take care of themselves. I'm going to report to you 3 things I think the city can do to help reimagine justice. I was in court just this Tuesday with a mother. The cops were in the house at 12 o'clock. They arrested her for nonsense. While in court with her, I found out that her son had been in the Dallas County jail with older people for 10 days without bond hearing. There's something wrong with that. None of us, middle class, black or white people, that would not happen to our children. He had mental problems. There's not enough done for people in the city with mental problems. We need something done about that. A cop on your force came to his house at 2 o'clock in the morning and questioned him for 2 hours, saying he had a gun. They never found a gun. When he didn't find a gun, they tased him and put him in jail and then arrested him for disorderly conduct. These things are going on in your city, and you speak for the least of these. We got to speak out for them. The jail. You cannot go into the jail to file a complaint. You understand outside. When a mentally ill man came and shot up our business, we could not get an arrest. Now, 3 lawyers can't get an arrest in Selma with somebody shooting up their business. Think about this. What about that mother in East Selma whose house is shut up? Your senator had to stand out with her father for over 2 hours outside trying to file a complaint to get this mentally ill man arrested. He came to the office with a gun. He could have killed somebody. But you let Walmart file a complaint. Oh, somebody stole some socks. I got that case. I sued the city and won it out of the way. Arrested a young man for stealing socks, and the cameras in Walmart said no socks were stolen. He was so traumatized, he left Selma and said, I'll never come back. Y'all, these are serious justice issues. We got to address the serious justice issues. I know I only have probably another minute, so let me say this right quick. Another prime example. The city council, none of y'all were here, you were, but you voted right. You gave this white supremacist organization an acre of land to honor the equivalence. Let me tell you something that you didn't know. Don't make this mistake again. They removed all of these things illegally from public property. The city of Selma owned a lot of cemetery, not the Doors of Confederacy. So all those things on that land was owned by the city of Selma. But when you gave the acre of land to the Doors of Confederacy, you also gave them that statue of Robert E. Lee, that chair that they say is worth $500 million. What happened? How did that happen? Now, a single one of them was arrested for taking property off of public property. But little old me, 77 years old, now officers come to arrest me. I want y'all to just think about that. How does that make this city that gave the world the Voting Rights Act, how does it make us feel? So what I want you to do, I want you to take this paper. I'm almost out of time.
Yes,
There's a statute. Wait a minute, no, this is important.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the statute that was passed. It says it is illegal to put campaign signs on public property. On the other side of that, you'll see an affidavit from the deacon of Tabernacle Church that says the sign I took up was from public property. So if you are going to change the rule, if you're going to allow 9 cops to arrest a 7-year-old woman, if 3 white men can claim citizens arrest and kill a black man in Georgia, I can't pick up a sign and sell without getting arrested. You don't have to like me, just think about that. Does that make any sense? Y'all, we don't have justice in this city. If you want to reimagine Selma, you got to reimagine justice. So I'm asking for a policy change. Either you do away with this law. Can y'all imagine these 9 officers arresting Mr. Branson? I see his sign from public property everywhere. Don't y'all see it?
Yes, ma'am.
They're not going to arrest him.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you need to question, why did you arrest Rose Sanders? Another policy change. You need a policy change about taking people's property. When there's an arrest, they take your car, even though it's legally parked. The day I was arrested, Senator Sanders was there to get my car. They said no. He had to pay $150 to get it from A1. A1 made $150 off of the illegal arrest. I don't think the city got any of that money. I'm constantly talking to people that got arrested and they take my property. You need a policy change for that. So in some, you need a policy change, and some you need a policy change for taking people's property. It's different if you need the car as evidence. No, the car was not used as evidence. Senator Sanders paid $150 and the car was taken. It happens all the time. Policy change around leaving children unattended.
Yes, sir.
That needs a policy. And the last policy change I'm going, you got to get on the side. You got to enforce your rules about the cameras. You may have heard the case in New York where the young Chinese African man was killed and the cops did something to the camera. And they found out that it was murder. Well, they do it all the time in Selma. The cameras can never be found. In Texas, as conservative as it is, they passed a law that any officer that messes with a camera is a misdemeanor. You got to have your officers accountable. Those 3 officers, you got to hold them accountable. And as I'm going to see, there's something wrong when a mother can claim that her son was raped by a man in her community, which happened, and nothing is done.
Yes, sir.
Nothing is done by your police chief. These issues have to be addressed. And if we don't address them, no matter how we imagine Selma will continue to be presented in the negative light. Like, don't just hear me speak. I'm pleading for y'all to do something about these things. Do something about that Edward Pettis sign. You might not can take it down, but you could put something there that tells our children that he was a Klansman.
All right. Thank you, attorney. We gave a little bit more time because you were explaining.
Maybe somebody might have a question.
So, yes, ma'am, we were explaining some very important issues. So the chair gave a little bit more time to address those and give those. Very briefly, council, are there any questions? I'm gonna start with Councilwoman James, then Councilwoman Thomas. Anyone else have any questions? Then Councilman Randolph, then we'll move on to the next item, where we do have additional business to have. Councilwoman James.
I don't have a question. I just want to say that I do think it's a thing we should be changed because I do see the injustice in the city myself. And I agree with you that we need to look into our policy and make sure everyone is treated fairly. And I'm willing to help anybody who needs to do anything with that because everybody needs to be treated equal. That's the only way we're gonna have Selma on the map again, and also, everybody see what's going on in the nation. And it could have been anybody out there, we don't need to leave any kids left alone, and I apologize for what happened, but I think we do need to do some policy changes on some things, because these political signs is going up now. We want to make sure they're on the right area and make sure people don't get falsely accused of taking people's signs.
All right.
We have a right to take those signs under the law. It's not a citizen's arrest.
Councilwoman Jane Thomas.
I'd like to say what, Ms. Hammond just said about our kids. All kids are not a part of the game. All kids are, they are misliking. And that is why some of our kids are the way they are. And I understand when you say, a lot of people got treated as part of the game. Our kids are not. This is why we as leaders, citizens of Selma, we have to reach out and show love to our kids that are going through something. That's what we're here for. So I agree with you, because when I see kids like that, I try to be there for them, try to hear what they have to say to help them. So it takes all of us to work in it. Be for real when we do these things.
Make sure that these cops don't racially profile.
Councilman Randolph.
Yes, it really bothers me that you've been arrested 4 years ago.
And I'm never
trial yet. You know, that's some injustice going on, serious. You know, I don't know, council, the out of line to ask the judge, ask the mayor to ask the judge what's going on, because they just drop there. You don't have really no case. So what we're doing is not right, you know. We have this renegade police chief at the time. That's your MO. If they ain't like it, they try to arrest you, shut you up. So that's what they did with this time. They did it to me.
But I got your charges dropped.
Yeah.
But they
But
were
they
dropped.
were not going. They basically, you know, there's a lot that was orchestrated by the police force at the time. So I'm saying, we need to write it down and ask them what's going on. 'Cause it ain't gonna go to no trial. If it's going to trial, it should have been going to trial.
And then I want to say something.
I'm not here for that purpose.
You said you were better, and I want to say something. You said many important things. All the things you said were very important. But you said something when you came up that all of us need to have the opportunity to place in our thoughts. You said reimagine. We need to reimagine our children and come from the premise that all of our children are good children. But it's their circumstances and things in the environment and other factors and outside factors which cause issues to take place. But when a child comes into this world, a child that comes into the world bad, things happen to that child. So you said something important. We as adults need to remember our children are that, our children. They're all of our children, and they are good children. And we need to support them in their plight to become successful adults. So I think that that's very important. We profess and we say these things, we talk about issues that happen, but I see good children doing good things all the time. I was in Selma last week, children opened the door for me, help me out. I see acts of kindness from our children all the time. So we need to reimagine our children. And attorney, you also mentioned those issues, and we need to address those issues as well, involving our court system. And we hope in the new year to address, if not all, at least start on some of these issues, because there are issues that need to be acted.
You're gonna have to act, because when you have the governor and the State Board of Education saying that history can't be taught, how can they see themselves in history and see the greatness of their people if you can't even teach it? That's why the city has to take charge, because we cannot depend on this government.
Thank you, attorney. Thank you. Thank you. Now let's move on to our next citizen concern, former Councilwoman Angela Benjamin, to discuss Shop Selma Sunday. Former Councilwoman Angela Benjamin Former Councilwoman Angela Benjamin. Okay. We'll move on to our next item on our agenda, which is our mayor's report and attorney's report. Mayor Burke. Yes, that was approved, the consent agenda. The shop sales has been approved, yes.
I'm not sure what's going on in this, John, probably not here, so let me, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm glad Attorney Fire Rose Ray didn't leave. Because a couple of things she said I want to respond to. But before I speak to a couple of things she said, I want to speak to the issue that Councilman Randolph mentioned. There has been an arrest for that robbery you mentioned. I wanted to make you and the public know that there has been an arrest made and we continue to work on that case. Attorney Ray, the municipal court is a wreck. The municipal court is an absolute wreck. Now that's the truth. And something has to be done about it. We've gotten 2 resignations already from professionals in municipal court that really just say they can't take it anymore because it's so dysfunctional. I get complaints from citizens all the time about municipal court. We had 32 citations issued from code enforcement, and when they were scheduled to go to municipal court, the citizens showed up, but they weren't heard. The cases weren't heard. We got real problems in municipal court. It's dysfunctional, and it has to be fixed. Now, I'm not, we need to work together to get that done. We really do, because the citizens deserve better. Ms. 48, the granddaughter, if I wasn't there, but I take your word for it. If law enforcement left a child unattended, that's wrong. And I wanted to personally apologize to her for that, because that's just not right. But I do want to acknowledge that, and I want to thank you for your compliment, because even though things are not as well as we would like them to be, things are better than they were, and we continue to get better in this process. And it's going to take all of us to just continue to be vigilant and challenge all of these injustices that we're seeing. There's an old saying that says, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And Attorney Ray, you're right there. A lot of these issues that we're dealing with, I have noticed, since this is my second rodeo, I've noticed a difference in the amount of collaboration that exists between elected officials. I'm not talking about council mayor. I'm talking about across jurisdictions in this city. There's a difference. There's not as much collaboration between local elected officials. The league is doing as much as it can. I think the Alabama Conference of Black Mayors is doing some work, but I can assure you that what I experienced in early 2000, we are not experiencing it in 2020. There's something broken, even in the amount of collaboration that we need to move the needle on state and federal issues. And if we don't improve it in this region, we're gonna still get left behind. There's about $3 trillion that's about to leave Washington. Over $1 billion of that gonna come into the state. And if we don't start working together in this region to try to get our fair share, I stop saying that I-14 can't come. The folk in Texas want it, the folk in Georgia want it, it's gotta come through here, we ought to want it. We need to be fighting for it. But we are too silent, we're not working together. It's gotta change. It's gotta change, that's my soapbox. I appreciate the consent agenda on global metallurgical. Excited about that. I think we're gonna get an announcement out of that. The public works vehicle that was removed from the consent agenda, would like to address it now. Councilman. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
The reason why that's is because of my concern. The line item that you were getting from, the few line item, I think that's the only question I want to ask you. The few line item that this comes out of, does it come out of our gas tax, fuel funding for in our?
No, ma'am, that's just general fund gas. That's
So
just
it
general.
just comes out of our just general fund,
That's
that the diverse between the departments.
That's
And that was my concern because, you know, we.
Yes.
Yes. Not just like we do the right thing, but I have the privilege to ask that question.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's before I cast my vote, that's been on the issue. But that fund, it comes out of, it accumulates, my question,
Yes, the answer to your question is no, that is not gas tax money. That's general fund appropriation for gas for that department. Yes, ma'am.
And let me ask you that question. So if it's accumulated from the general fund, where does that fund come from, falls up under the fuel tax?
It doesn't.
It doesn't?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, it doesn't.
I just want, I'm asking you
Yes,
to there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
What
ma'am.
I need to know.
Yes, ma'am.
With that,
Fuel tax is income.
The reason why.
This is an expenditure to the city. We're buying gas.
I know,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's why I asked on that line, when you said fuel.
Yes.
You thought about it either.
Yes.
You know, I do some reading, and I want to make sure before I cast my vote, that none of that 5 cent, 7 cent, gas tax fund that are being used by.
No, ma'am,
That's all I want.
different situation.
all right, ask and answer. So with that said, are there any other questions about this particular item? Any other questions? All right, with that said, is there a motion to approve the purchase? All right, let me just finish the motion for the record. Thank you. The purchase of 2016 Ford F-150 XLT in the amount of $26,000 from the Lima Cadillac GMC, and to approve the transfer of $26,000 from account number 1.6200-5138 to account numbers 1.6200.55330 and account number 1.6200.5171 to allow the purchase. And Councilman Johnson has moved that motion. Is there a second? All right, I'm gonna, let's say that Councilman Jefferson was the first I heard. So Councilman Jefferson seconded. It's been moved by Councilman Johnson, properly seconded by Councilman Jefferson to approve, said motion as read. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk. Yes.
Councilman Harville, Councilwoman Christie.
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael.
Yes.
Councilwoman Day. Yes. Councilman Randolph.
Yes.
Councilman Jefferson.
Yes.
Councilwoman James Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
I am deferring the burning of dirt pit appraisal discussion this evening, and we'll address it in the next meeting. That during the work session, there was a request for boring and soft boring. We're getting that done this week, and so we'll let you know the outcome of that. No problem. Turn to Ray, I'll be brief researching this issue about tasing. I don't know anything about Selma Police Department being involved in a tasing. Typically, if something like that happens, I should have been informed. So I'll be looking into that to see if, what happened with that situation. I know nothing about a person being raped and no action being taken as well. Those things concern me. I will. That's all right.
Thank you, Mayor. All right. Council, we'll move on to our attorney's report. And I do see Attorney Madison, has joined us electronically. So, Mr. Attorney, hopefully you can hear us.
Good evening. Thank you, President Young, Mayor Perkins, ladies and gentlemen of the council, ladies and gentlemen in attendance in the council chamber. The consent agenda covered items 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 on my agenda, and the Denton's Sorority invoice. There were 2 actually, or items 5 and 6. I did not see those included in the consent agenda. They were presented for your consideration and approval. The first invoice was $20,910.10. The second one was $500.
Council, attorney indicated items number 5 and 6 in the attorney's report. Those were the invoices for sorority. Are there any questions about these invoices? This time, go ahead, Councilman Thomas.
Is that the same invoice with, BMS?
No, this is the, we did the BMSS as a separate invoice. So they're the accounts, and this is for the legal side.
That's correct, President Young.
Yes, and so we had an invoice for them, in the amount of $20,910.10. That was item number 5. And then we also had under item number 6 on the attorney's report, and that was $500. Am I correct, Mr. Attorney?
That's correct. When we called in my office to confirm the invoicing for the $20,000, a little over $20,000, the accounts receivable person who spoke with my secretary said that was all the outstanding invoices with the exception of a $500 general counsel invoice. And I'm asking, and the mayor has asked, that we get hard copies, bound hard copies of all of the reporting out that Denton Sorority has done, so we can review that and present it to the council as well.
Councilman Thomas, you can ask your question.
Is that the, I guess the question we wait for them to come back to bring to the council with the $500 fees that we're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is what he's explaining about $500?
Yes, are you explaining the $500 was for the general counsel fee? Is that what you said, Attorney Madison?
That's correct.
Okay, so that was for, and it's got listed on their conversation they had concerning the project with the bank.
And it was with the company,
The lawyers, yes, ma'am.
the lawyer.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the $500.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So for clarification, I know he mentioned that the mayor requested bound copy, so that was $500 will cover.
Under the bill, it has corporate general, so I was assuming it was from the general conversation with lawyers. But Mr. Attorney, you want to address that? What specifically does the $500 address? What is
The request was from the city to Denton's Sorority was to get bound copies of everything they have reported out on to the city catalog, so that we can track by invoice and questions that were asked, everything they've done.
So Councilman Christopher, you're correct. You're correct. All right, Council, with that said, and now explanations provided for items number 5 and number 6 in the attorney's report, is there a motion to approve the payment of an invoice to Sorority for $20,910.10, and also the invoice for $500? All right, it was moved by Council, I get it hard, that was close. We're gonna get up to Councilwoman James, made the motion, is there a second? All right, was seconded by Councilman Randolph. to approve both invoices from Denton Sorority in the amount of $20,902.10 and $500. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Jones,
Yes.
Councilman Harvey, Councilwoman Christie.
Yes.
Councilman Colón,
Yes.
Councilwoman Banks. Yes. Councilman Randolph.
Yes.
Councilman Wilson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jackson.
Oh, we got a motion on the floor.
I will.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
All right, thank you, council. We'll now move on. I think the last item that was on the attorney's report that we did not place, that was removed from consent agenda was the bill from BMS. And so I think that Councilwoman Thomas may have some questions about that. So Councilwoman Thomas, it's your turn to ask questions.
It's divided up into two payments. And my concern is it part of the time served with, in our administrative?
Can't- I can hear you talking, Councilwoman Thomas, but I'm having trouble discerning what you're saying. Can you speak a little bit louder or into the mic closer?
What I'm saying is, Attorney Madison, you know, the last council meeting, you know, we did a vote on, a bill that I think it was 25,000 and some? The last month, I mean, the last meeting,
Which bill? Which bill?
BMSA.
BMS.
The last council meeting, we did a vote for a bill on that. Was that for that last phrase, or this is for another phrase that we had a bill?
I think Shakir is on, and he can probably address the invoice better than I can, but there was a, the report this time was for $27,325. Are you asking if this was a separate invoice?
Yes, I'm asking him, I want to ask you this question. Here, is that bill divided up into two? Is it divided into your salary? Because you got it added up to 27,000 and something. Is that just the hours served for BMS manager working in the city? And I know, is it for part of it, your salary for the being here?
Together.
It's
both together. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's my question, right? Because I know we just had paid a bill the last, council meeting. It was like 25,000 and so, and we got another bill this time of the council going on. And I'm just trying to figure out, that's your previous last.
So that was October.
Okay.
This is the month of October.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Just to clarify, in the bill, there's $120 an hour. For the,
I know that,
treasurer.
I'm clarifying myself.
So,
I understand, I'm asking him a question. I was asking him what the salary with that, and also the part of BMS doing the hours working.
do you have your answer now, Councilwoman Thomas?
Yes, I do have an answer to one more question I would like
Yes, ma'am.
to the, vice chairman. We just reinstated you back as in the interim, trade to work with our previous trade that coming in. And, at the hourly rate, yeah, we voted to current trade. No,
I don't think we've taken another vote since we haven't changed. He's still interim chair. We haven't taken
well,
another
our
vote.
time was up at the end, you know, you told us before that was the end of.
Yeah, but I don't think we've taken a vote. We discussed it maybe, but we haven't.
We discussed it at work session. I mean, I'm sorry, we discussed that in our finance committee meeting, but we have not. taken a
So
vote.
I just want to ask a question, or is he still here working in, since we do not have our treasurer that he voted to?
I don't have the resolution in front of us that we voted on when we did the interim appointment. Does anyone recall?
I
I don't think it had time to speak.
And then that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, until.
That was my question. I wanted to know was he still here, continuing, and that she would be in on December the second.
Yes, ma'am.
So meantime, he's in there.
He's still here. Yes, ma'am. He is still here.
President Young,
Yes, sir.
what I recall briefly was that the resolution was that Shakir was appointed interim treasurer until a treasurer had been permanently selected. And that one, even though one has been selected, she's reporting December the 7th, which is a couple of weeks away, somewhere around a week and a half, 2 weeks away. But also that there was a discussion about overlapping of his tenure to provide some transition from him to her. I don't know that a decision was ever made on that overlapping and transition period.
Well, right now, we have him in spot, so we don't need to take an additional vote. He's still in place, so there's no need for an additional vote.
Okay.
All right?
And I'm pleased with that, a good understanding on how the
Yes,
city funds are being spent with
Yes,
the treasure still in there until we get out.
Yes, ma'am. All right, with that said, we have the BMSS invoice in front of us in the amount of $27,325. Is there a motion to approve payment of the invoice as the explanation has been provided to Councilwoman Thomas? All right, is there a second? All right, it was moved by Councilwoman James, properly seconded by Councilwoman Christian Thomas to approve payment of the invoice to BMSS in the amount of $27,325. Are we ready for a question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young.
Yes.
Council Harvey, Councilwoman Christie.
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael.
Yes.
Councilwoman Day. Councilwoman James.
Yes.
Councilman Randolph.
Yes.
Councilman Jameson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jamie Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Council, for your votes. Mr. Attorney, from my understanding, that is all of the items that require votes and action from your report for me.
That is as listed on my report, but there's one other item that was not on the report that I wanted to bring to the council's attention. Mr. Black, the council approved a contract for David Blackman to do videotaping of work sessions, council meetings, committee meetings, and that contract was executed by him and signed off by you, Mr. President, and the mayor. What's come to light, though, is that one of the last clause of that contract recited that the release of that all information videotape was a property of the city of Selma, not Mr. Blackman's, and that therefore written authorization needed to be given to release that information anywhere to anyone for any reason. That's not what's happening. And my understanding is that information is being posted to several places and being selectively chosen to be posted. So I wanted to make this body aware that that's in violation of the contract that Mr. Blackman has. I don't know whether or not he saw that or read that or not, but it's definitely in the contract. I had to go back to review. I drafted it, then I had to go back to review it to make sure that was the case, and it is.
Well, that's just for information purposes tonight. No action is required by the body of the council at this time. But thank you for telling us about that, and we'll keep us posted.
I will.
All right, thank you.
Can I ask the attorney something before you get off?
Yes, go ahead. Councilman James.
Good afternoon, Attorney.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Several months ago, and also mentioned this tonight about police department. Have you had conversation with the judges over there yet?
You said the police department?
Yes, sir.
I did.
No, the report, I apologize.
I didn't hear the end of your question. What was the last part of the question?
Conversation yet with your attorneys and judges at the municipal court?
Yes, I did. Well, I did with Judge Haygood and with Ms. Kamisha Logan. I just saw yesterday, I think it was, the letter of resignation from Attorney Lowe, Kiara Lowe. I hadn't talked with him yet. I'll get to talk with him in the morning. But I did talk with both Judge Haygood and Ms. Logan. And the mayor also and I discussed to an extent what's going on. I think Ms. Logan I read her letter last week, I want to say, and I think she had some very instructive comments. I talked with her because I didn't want to just, in most places you get an exit interview. Before she left, I wanted to talk with her to find out what I thought for sure was going on. I had talked with them before, both Attorney Lowe and Ms. Logan, Judge Hager. I talked with all of them before, but lately, when these matters surfaced concerning resignations, I've gone back and talked with 2 of the 4 individuals there, and we'll talk with the other 2 this week.
Okay, so you're gonna talk with, Judge, Booton as well?
I'm sorry, I'm hearing you, but it's hard to understand you. What did you say?
Will you be having a conversation with Judge Booton?
Yes. That's what I was saying. I talked with one of the judges and one of the attorneys already. I'll be talking with the other 2 this week.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. President,
Yes, go ahead, Councilman Johnson.
this problem been going on for many years now. I think Councilman Randolph will provide more than I do. And I'm glad that the mayor acknowledged that there's a lot of problems going on, so we really need to step it up to get this taken care of. Because I know the code enforcement gave a lot of citations in Hawaii. And one of them is my first cousin, which I told fairly from councilman of the cousin. He appeared today, and then they got done, but I just think that we need to do something about this. I know the whole 4 years. I know some administrators the design quit, because of the problem, and I think she will work with us now. We really need to do something about it. We don't do something about it, we really need to step our court system up, and I think the mayor, will be able to help us get this taken care of, so we got problems with it.
All right. Yes, Councilman Randolph.
I think you said it. That court system, magistrate all, they way underpaid.
Way underpaid.
Way
underpaid.
So when you pay me, no way, they don't go into you.
Way underpaid.
I've been staying there now. Over that magistrate court. It's unbelievable.
A lot of work.
Any other, anyone else? All right.
I got a question for the attorney, he can go with it, I can get that.
Okay, go ahead, Councilman Thomas.
Attorney Madison has a couple of things to follow up on the contract with snow cleaning service. Do you have any information on that?
The contract of Snows, is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
That contract is still on my desk. There was about $7,000 worth of items, I think you said, and that's what was listed as an invoice. That was one part of the contract that was perplexing to me. We talked about it a little bit. I'd like to talk with Mr. Snow. I can do that tomorrow morning, and then get back to you and the council on that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman J. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I thought the problem was where the oil needs to get stick.
Right, so just for clarification purposes, for Councilman Randolph, can you tell him what you told me when we discussed that, please, about all these funds?
You want to know what we discussed about the oil lease?
Yes, he was.
The discussion we had concerned a couple of things. The oil lease portion of it involved whether or not the clearing of the alley or right of way or public street, a street was capable of being paid for under all these funds. And I actually contacted the League of Municipality and talked with one of the attorneys there who said, yes, it was, as long as it's clearing and making accessible that roadway instead of just cutting bushes or grass around the roadway. If it's to clear the roadway, to make it passable, that was considered a legitimate expense.
But basically, the way I saw it is we didn't have it worded specifically like that in the contract. Make sure that it's Also, Attorney Madison, we had talked about the tower ordinance a few weeks back. Is there any movement on that?
The garbage ordinance. I'm sorry, which ordinance, garbage ordinance? Is that what you said?
Tower ordinance.
I'm still not understanding you. I hear you, but I can't understand you.
I'm sorry, tower ordinance. The tower ordinance.
The tower ordinance,
Yes, communications, tower.
as far as telecommunications is concerned.
Yes, sir, our local tower ordinance.
Yeah, I think one of the questions you asked, and that was one of the seminars at the municipal attorneys conference in Gulf Shores. One of the things pointed out on tower ordinances was that the key to it was being careful, because a lot of the telecommunications companies being careful to renegotiate, because a lot of them were locking cities and municipalities and political subdivisions into 5-year contracts, but repeating and renewing automatically on 5-year bases for like 20 or 25 years. And that the fees that were being, I know you had another issue too, and I'll address that in a minute. But what got my attention was that the fees that were being paid by the telecommunications companies were nowhere near enough and could be renegotiated. And I wasn't aware of how pernicious or how vicious some of these negotiations were. The telecommunications companies, or even have gotten to hiring third-party representatives to negotiate. So you don't even know who you're negotiating with at first, whether it's Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T. And the other point that you were asking about, I thought, was whether or not the company that we are using for vetting tower requests to change towers or add hardware to towers, whether or not they needed to be paid money. Well, that's a contractual decision by the council. You don't have to pay anybody to do that, but these individuals, as far as I can tell, were the ones who were the experts. And I think the IT director, Mr. Kennison, can address that more directly as to whether or not that is still necessary. I think it's necessary in the sense that I don't know as much about telecommunications as I would like to. Mr. Kennison may.
I'm not sure exactly what about it was that violated federal guidelines, but there had been a consultant that worked with a local company that said that our ordinance violated FCC rules, and we wanted to kind of follow the lead of the city of Demopolis and their tower ordinance. They could send us their ordinance. I think we wanted to basically do the same type of ordinance that the city of Demopolis had.
I haven't looked at Demopolis's ordinance yet, but again, the information I got at the conference was that these companies are taking advantage of smaller towns and cities by not being completely upfront and by using third-party negotiators, and that you have the right to demand that they pay whatever is fair instead of just taking what they offer. The other part of that was what you're discussing now, who needs to do what in the way of FCC regulations and guidelines. I would defer to Mr. Kennison on that technical aspect of the contract.
Can we take that up in a committee?
Yes.
What committee would that fall under?
I think you already know that.
I think probably that training, I would think, because I think that would be the best committee. Sorry, Councilwoman Thomas. All right, we'll put that under there. All right. Anything else with the attorney?
No,
Okay.
that's my report.
Okay, I think Councilwoman Thomas and Councilwoman Thomas have questions.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out from you, what's the, through the city court, when you file a claim, does it go to a year or what?
Did you say filing a claim? In city court?
So we go to the magistrate and you get that you filed a claim.
The city court's jurisdiction is misdemeanor criminal charges, traffic violations, and code ordinance violations. Anything other than that is going to wind up in district court or circuit court.
I'm saying what the date, ending date, is from the beginning date, if you don't get anything from the magistrate over there,
I'm confused. You're asking about getting something from the magistrate?
I didn't ask you to get anything from the city court, what I asked you was a question. The question was, under the magistrate, when you file a claim, when you go over there and file a complaint, what date does it go through for 1 year from the date you filed to the fiscal year, the ending of that year, like the ending of it December now?
I guess Councilwoman Thomas, what I'm asking is, when you say file a claim, are you talking about asking for a probable cause hearing for a warrant to be issued to arrest somebody?
Yes, and then when you file it, and the magistrate said, well, we'll take this up with the next step, she said, is some kind of like legal charge.
I'm sorry, I'm just having trouble following you. Can you do me a favor and send me in writing the question you asked, and I'll be happy to answer it? I'm having trouble following you. It's not you as much as it is the communication.
You know, Mr. Madison, the attorney, he knows what I'm talking about. It's another step that you go, they go to civil, like civil suit, civil claim, you know, you go to the next step. And once the magistrate, you file a claim, and nothing's been done from the day to day, and then after that, almost a year, well, a year coming up, what do you do then?
You mean the case has not been set on a docket to be brought to court?
Yeah.
Then I need to find out what that case number is and see what's happening and why it's not.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, I'll if I can get that case number and the name of the person whose case it is, I'll be glad to look into that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Councilman Chris?
Yes, real quick, Attorney Madison, we're still waiting an update on Crown Ridge, the lights repair. You have an update on that?
Repairs where? Councilwoman Thomas, repairs where? Repairs where?
Crown Ridge.
Crown Ridge. Yes, I've spoken with Public Works Director a couple of times about that. He said that he was trying to he had some trouble with his bucket. He got the bucket back. He was trying to get up the Christmas decorations, and then he would get there as soon as that was done. I'll have to ask him if he's already gotten it taken care of. I haven't talked to him in the last few days.
All right. That concludes the questions for Attorney. Thank you, Mr. Attorney, for your report. Let's move on now, Council, committee reports. Are there any committees that would like to report at this time? Are there any committees that would like to report at this time? Councilwoman Jane Thomas.
I want to report, everybody has citizen self till the March, and the LA will be put into City Hall. We'll begin parts. I know she told us that some parts had came. And the second question was asking about some of the buildings being repaired with the hurricane reimbursement. And it's meant to be over the summer and start, but gonna give a more update later on, maybe next month. For clarification on building. And also, they asked me a question about the George Evans building. Is that the sign gonna be put back up on the building? Because it listed as riverfront. Because that's the George Evans building. The sign, are you gonna read?
Are you asking me the question, Councilman?
No, sir. I don't have to
Okay.
look at that.
Okay.
or they gotta, okay. But ma'am, it's time to put back up.
Yeah, that's the renovations and what, as the repairs take place, yes.
So citizen, the sign will be put back up, come from the mayor.
And the mayor didn't take it down.
And the mayor did take it down.
It was damaged during the storm.
Thank you for those points of clarification, everyone. Any other committees to report at this time? Please be advised, we will have finance committee and public safety committee meetings scheduled sometime in the near future after Thanksgiving. Any other committees would like to report? Hearing no further committees, we'll move on to unfinished business and new business. Is there any other finished business that needs to be addressed at this time? Yes, sir.
This new bid, I hope, I announced on the last company, the red street is being open.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask the mayor if he could, can we get some lights, around in that area, and if you look into it, that's so dark, going around that curve, off red street. Also, which, I think we had talked about, Green Street as well. Which, talked about, probably,
Send me a text, something to remind me of it.
thank you, sir.
Any other new order?
I have new business.
Yes, ma'am.
I have new business on Maybury. 1719 Baker Street. 1719 Baker Street. I had to go out there, his wife called me, and said that they had to deal with public work issue. And he said it very hard. They're having a backup problem. And he said the city is aware of it. They should not be aware of it. Wash their clothes. So, if the city knows that, they spent money themselves to have a contractor come out and look and see what is on their side of the work. And it's a problem on the city side. There's always been a problem in the area between, on the other side of the street, across from them. But the citizens said they did not have a problem, but the problem is still at, Rev. Marshall House. And so I'm hoping that, we can, look at that, take that issue, but they can't wash clothes and they can't, and I'm hoping that, we can find a way to take care of that issue. And I think our director is aware of it, public director is aware of it, but, the issue that they're saying, they shouldn't have to wait that long to take care of it. We need to find the funds or whatever we need to do to take care of, that issue. 1719.
Councilwoman, are you aware of the engineering requirements to do that work?
Well, no one ever brought it to, well, no one ever said anything, because they were, they called me and asked me where I was I aware of the problem. And I told them, no, I was not aware of the problem. That's why I went out and I put a work order in. So my concern is, if it's the city side, don't we supposed to take care of it, man?
Well, I wish it was as simple as sitting in here and having a conversation about it, but it's a lot more complex than that. It's a major problem, and it's gonna take, over 100, 150, maybe 100, $200,000 to fix it. But there is an engineering process that has to be gone through. The engineer public works are working on it.
Well, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not.
Go ahead, finish, Councilman Thomas.
Also, so when you say Mayor, you said that it's an engineer problem, you said that they're gonna take care of that, Ray Hall is gonna take care of the issue.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this family should not have to be, waiting too long.
I can't say that. I can't say how long they're gonna have to wait. Again, there may have to be a declaration of an emergency with the situation. But right now, it's a major problem, and we don't have one. We got about 3 of them like that. And so, you know, I can appreciate the council having these conversations, doing council meeting, but I guarantee you, this is not gonna help us fix the problem. We really are working on it,
So
council.
I brought it before the work session.
We're working on it, and we're working on it as fast as we can with the resources that we have. And they are in contact with the citizen. We have been in contact with them, and I believe you got an email update today. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Johnson.
Sir, not doing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought she was
No,
finished.
I have another project.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Thomas.
I've been dealing with this for 4 years on Care Street, over off of Care Street, in 9th Avenue. This family, I put work orders in, I took pictures, and, since the first year you've been in there, and I sent pictures to Public Works, and, that, the citizen that lives in that, the homeowner on that block over there, the more it rains, the caveman comes in. It comes in. We might have better way of doing our work on it and stuff done, because, with this, let's say, work on it again, President.
But Councilwoman, let me just, you know, since
I put my work on it in priority,
you know,
I put my work order in priority before now. This work order for Carroll Street been put in, right, early part of the first beginning of the year. And I put it, this is my 3rd time putting it in. And, when the citizen calls me, and, the ground part was the cake,
Hold on a second. There's a lot of, we can't hear everything being said because there's so many different conversations taking place. So can we just have one person speaking at a time so that we can make sure we get clarity on what's said? Continue, Councilwoman Thomas, and then we'll go to the next, speaker.
And this is a major problem over there. They've had cracks over there for the last 4 years. They done dry rotted. And where you have rain, you have 4 areas where it's been caved in. And the lady, she's been very patient. And, so I can't, put the work order in. And the work order been put back in again, this 3rd time on Carroll Street. And I sent the pictures, and the crates are dry rotted. And, she asked me when we would be able to try to do something, public work, to go out there and look at it, and build it back up, put the dirt back in the hole, even so where a drain that can wash it away. These people have been very patient, and I have put work on it more than one time. And so my thing is this year, I would say that, the system, the way we do, put the work order in, and it's supposed to be taken care of. And I put the work order in 3 or 4 times throughout.
Okay, we're aware of the issue with work orders and communications. We've said that more than one time. Now, is there a response to that? Does anyone have a response to give to Councilwoman Thomas?
I just want to make a comment on that. I understand what she is with that.
Okay.
I had the same problems with the free on my resident on River Street. I had to end up doing a contract for $40,000 to get that taken care of. And I did not get out of the word of giving I had the director to go ahead and do a contract with Woods Construction. They got it taken care of. So what I'm was saying is to Ms. I think she feel my pain now, what I had to go through. I couldn't sit there and let them residents go through their, bags and everything. So that's why I had to do my contract, even though she didn't support me of it. But I understand exactly where she comes from, because the resident shouldn't have to live like that.
Okay, all right. I believe that, I don't hear a response right now to you, Councilwoman Thomas. So I believe that this could perhaps get taken care of offline, not right now tonight, unless someone has a response ready for it.
But here's the thing. This work order was submitted today.
No,
I'm looking at it.
no, Ms. Nikki.
No, wait a minute. The work order that you're talking about, that you resubmitted, was submitted today. Now, she's saying there is another one, she's looking for it. We're trying to find it. I'm not really sure where it is, or if there's another one, but we're looking for it.
I got it when I see
But
it.
that's fine. That's fine, but my point, Mr. President, this is a phone call to the office. This doesn't have to be done here. But see, many of the council members don't want to talk to the office, don't want to call the office. Even in the council meeting, they would rather talk over the mayor and not address these issues. It's a phone call. Make the phone call, talk to me, talk to my staff. We can work this stuff. But you're not gonna get, just because you submit a work order, we have to prioritize based on cost, based on project size and other things. And we really don't have a problem in trying to work these, but you gotta prioritize them. You think just because you submit it, that don't mean it's gonna get done the next day.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Hold on. Everyone been doing good. Continue to do well. So we, thank you.
Because I really don't.
Thank you. So we realize that the issue does exist with the reporting of the work orders and the frustration of not getting the work completed. We know there's gonna be costly. We know all these things are upon us. So we want to do our very best to try to come up with a possible resolution as soon as practical, as soon as we can. I hear Mayor, I hear Councilwoman Thomas. We hear both. We all hear both. But an argument back and forth is not gonna get anything done. So let's not do that. All right? So, well, this discussion right now is not getting us where we need to go. So thank you for that. Do you have anything else we need to address on this before we move on?
The only thing I have to say is there is a process. It's not perfect, but it's working. And we really need to respect the process. And when you come into a public meeting, not just the council meeting, but a public meeting, and make these statements as though the departments are not doing anything, that they're not working, that they're not getting things done. It's not right. It's not. Thank you.
You said, all right. Council, let's move on to the next issue, please. Councilor Carmichael.
I just want to say that it is on my radar to take it up in public works committee and try to make sure we have a way.
We mentioned it before.
And we're just trying to get through the garbage thing. I promise we're going to get.
Thank you. All right. Now, are there any other committees, I'm sorry, no committees, any other unfinished business or new business? Any other unfinished business? Just from the council. This is just the council meeting.
This council meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And I would probably respect it as a council, that represent my district. And no other council have nothing to say, because I represent Ward 7. When my citizens call me, and I constantly do what I'm supposed to do, and I go out, regardless of who, this is the council meeting, council have citizens business.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm not gonna have anyone to feel that they're gonna disrespect me or walk over me, because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as a representative for the state.
Okay,
These are issues.
understood.
The other issue
Yes,
is
ma'am.
this. This is new business. We have a tree, I brought it up. in the work session. I took pictures. We've been trying to get this tree removed from down in the bottom, but the hurricane brought it up out the ground. The sidewalk was torn. When the constituents keep asking me, what are you gonna do something about it? That's my duty as to try to find out what's going on with the work order. But it ain't like I don't, because I document everything I do every day that I do something, I document and say how many times. When I have to respond to these citizens, I put the work order. My problem is this here, we need that tree up, we need that sidewalk. If they said they had some money before that, Henry Thompson told us to give that, the street and whatever we need to get this tree removed. The tree has been down ever since 1 year of October, and the sidewalk is put up, and it's down in the bottom. So I would like to find a way of coming back with a contract for this county road, so we can get that tree removed up out of the wood and get that sidewalk.
You have the prerogative to bring forth the document for this council to review. So thank you. Any other new unfinished business?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Yes,
Back to my contract with,
yes, sir.
I was trying to see the best way to handle it. See, it is clearly not static, but it's right away. I don't know if I can buy it. Well, I know I can buy it, but I tell you what, I'm just gonna make a motion that, use my discretionary pay for it, and get done, get it over with.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Randolph, properly seconded to approve, the snow cleaning contract as mentioned in the consent agenda. Purchase order for snow cleaning services amount of $5,000 in funding dispersed from Council Randolph discretionary account 1.6002-51070.5. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Jones?
Yes.
Councilman Carter, Councilwoman Christie?
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael?
Yes.
Councilwoman James? Yes. Councilman Randolph?
Yes.
Councilman Dennis?
Yes.
Councilwoman James Thompson?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Any other new unfinished business? Yes, sir.
And also, I had, in the work session, was some right away, something for $800, down First Avenue, Franklin Street, and Fifth Avenue. So I like to figure out my discretionary.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Randolph to have Mr. McCarthy Fitz perform work in his ward with funding to be taken out of his discretionary account. Is there a discussion? Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Jones?
Yes.
Councilman Carter, Councilwoman Christie?
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael?
Yes.
Councilwoman James? Yes. Councilman
Yes.
Councilman Dennis?
Yes.
Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Any other new unfinished business? Yes, Councilwoman Thomas.
Mr. President, I'd like to stress this to you, Mr. President. This is a council meeting, it's council meeting, they have all right issues in my right.
Yes, Mr. Council.
And to make sure that we're going the right thing, deal with our finance and everything, in my right?
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
So I just want you to understand, when I speak about, this is why we have council. This was this.
All right, thank you. Any other council members with any new unfinished business? Mayor, would you like to announce about the upcoming holiday parade?
Thank you. I want to say the word. We have a lot of activities scheduled, coming up for the holiday. On December the 4th and December the 5th, starting at 11 o'clock on the 4th, the traditional day parade, the Christmas Day parade will take place. There will be a Christmas tree walking contest. Both those will be at 11 o'clock, and then at 12, there will be a battle of the bands at Riverfront Park with a car show. The Quebec Club will be out there. Also, at 2 o'clock, a very merry tailgate and contest will be at Riverfront Park. Walton Theater will be participating in that with food trucks and vendors. And then on the 5th, the next day, you'll be grinning with the Grinch. I ain't quite got that one yet. We're gonna be grinning with the Grinch. I'm still working for planning and development. They got my name down here, so I don't know if I'm the Grinch or what.
We're gonna say
And then at 12 o'clock, there's a brunch on water. It was story time with Santa. And then at 2 o'clock, there'll be a carriage ride and activities, Water Avenue. That's $5 per person. That's the only thing I think that we charge them for food. And then at 5 o'clock, we will have the tree lighting and a concert. And then at 6 o'clock, we're gonna be rocking on the river with the boat parade and fireworks. And so we're a lot of boat entrances have actually decided to sign up and participate. So we're looking forward to having a very festive Christmas celebration. And so, having given the opportunity by you, Council President Young, let me just tell everybody happy Thanksgiving. Let me take this off so you can see the smile. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Yeah, I would think an hour in advance for lineup would probably be appropriate. And I think at the St. James, and I think we'll be well suited and ready to go for the parade. I'm hoping all of you will be there. I know you're gonna have your Santa Claus hats on and your beards, all that kind of cut yours off.
I'll go around for you.
Looking forward to the festival.
All right. We'll do some offline conversations. We'll get together. It's holiday time in Selma. Thanksgiving Thursday, shop in Selma Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Shop in Selma. Let's remember that. Shop in Selma. 5-0. You got something else? Mr. Campbell?
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and give us your financial report?
Yeah. What about the budget?
We're taking the finance. We're taking it up.
Pass it.
Yeah, we're doing that finance. Yes, sir. We talked about it in one session. Yes, sir. Thank you for that. All right, thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Campbell.
Hello. Hey, guys, hear me?
Pretty good.
All right, so at the start of our financial packet, I apologize for the late notice. But this is for October. Also apologize for the header of this saying 2020 and 2021 when it's supposed to say 2021. So if you look at our sales tax, we have raked in $926,000 compared to our 1 million from October. So that's about an $86,000 variance. But I wouldn't be too worried about that due to our average from last year being about $900,000. For our lodging tax on the next page, we have raked in about $26,000. As an increase from last year's October by $4,000. For our tobacco tax, $23,000. Last year was $22,000, so we are also doing well on that by about $1,400. If we go to the lodging surcharge, I'm sorry that is not pulled down to the bottom, but if you look at the top of the page, you can see that we have pulled in $10,477 compared to our about $8,000. For a variance of about $1,600 more than we approved in this option. The half cents, we need to amp it up a little bit because we are down about $10,000 from last year, but I also wouldn't be that worried about that due to our $126,000 from last year being a high variance. For our simplified salary use tax, $95,000, which is a great increase from last year by about $15,000. If we go to the next one, for municipal aid street gas tax, we have $18,000 for the month of October and $17,000 for last year's month of October, which gives us about $1,000 variance. If we go to the rebuild Alabama gas tax, we have brought in $10,000 compared to our $7,000 from last year, giving us a variance of about $3,200. And then you can see the payment register. This is just basically stating exactly what we paid for throughout the month of October. There were 182 transactions for the amount of $837,000. If we continue going, we have our bank statements for PNC. We have $10 million within the bank. Trustmark, we have $3,874,000 in the bank. For regions, we have $357,000. And then for Wells Fargo, we have $662,000, which gives us about $15,202,000 in the bank. For the next few pages, these are just the statements, so you guys can look at them yourselves because it's basically stating what was on the last page. So, yeah.
Are there any questions?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Councilwoman Thomas.
On the, Alabama gas tax, you know, KI had, increased the gas, doesn't mean, don't, still a little, different from the gas tax. How much percentage that we pay?
Sorry, what did you ask about the percentage? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to have you speak up so many times. I know that people have asked you multiple times. Go ahead.
Want to repeat that question again, Councilwoman Thomas?
Yeah, I said, since we have the repeal Alabama gas tax that increased, how much percentage would that increase the, and KI?
Well, I'm looking at the increase from about $7,000 to $10,000. I would say about 30%. I'll say about 30%.
30%?
Yeah. Permanent.
Any other questions?
So we, just to piggyback on that question, we are receiving the new gas tax, right?
That's me, I asked, how much percentage I want to know what's really.
Hey, Council, I think we received those reports today. And so, I know you all haven't had time to go through it the way you want to, so please feel free to go through that. And if you have any questions, let's submit those to our treasurer. And I'm sure he'll gladly try to best respond.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
On our tobacco tax, I noticed, our intake is to be different, range in money. And I noticed, September, August month was like 37,000. And then September month went down to 20,000. So can you, I'm trying to find out what is going on different in the range of, sometimes it jumps up to 35,000, then what, it's down now to 20,000. So what is a,
Yes.
Is they, you know what I'm saying? I'm not laughing, but I'm serious, this some serious stuff, because I watch it. It's down to 20,000 now, I'm saying, it's all about tax, business, where we selling tobacco, they tax, are they paying taxes? Because it goes up and it goes down. It went down tremendously, it's down to 20,000.
Councilwoman, that tax is collected in the tax and license office, not in the finance department, so Mr. Campbell will not be able to answer your question on that. That's something that would have to come from a different office. If you would simply check in with me, let's get through Thanksgiving. I want to ask you, I want to invite you to come out of the office and have a conversation. That's the problem right there.
Okay, thank you. All right, are there any other new unfinished business? Hearing none, happy Thanksgiving, this meeting stands adjourned.
Hey, don't forget $2.
All right.